My beloved, stop and listen. Do not let this moment slip past you. There is something I can no longer keep hidden from you, something too important, too urgent, too full of my heart to remain unspoken. I couldn't keep this from you any longer. These words are not a warning, they are an awakening. I am reaching into the noise that surrounds your life to whisper what your spirit has been longing to hear. What I am about to reveal carries the weight of my love, the fire of my truth, and the power to change everything you thought you knew about your journey. Before the mountains rose, before light first touched the surface of the deep, I already saw you. You were not a passing thought or an aftertaste of creation. You were known, chosen, and desired in the very heart of eternity. You were the dream within my heart before the dawn of time ever broke. I saw the rhythm of your laughter before your lungs ever filled with breath. I knew the shape of your soul before your body was formed. Every day of your life was written in my book before one of them came to be, and even then, I delighted in what I saw. You have never existed outside of my awareness. Even when you thought I was distant, even when you believed the world had overlooked you, my gaze never turned away. I saw the moments when your strength was gone, and you whispered prayers you didn't have words for. I saw you look at yourself in the mirror and wonder if you were enough. I saw you standing in a room full of people, feeling unseen, carrying a heart heavy with unspoken ache. And I want you to know, you were never invisible to me. You were never out of sight, never out of mind, never out of my reach. I saw you before you even knew how to look toward me. I have always seen you, in your laughter and your tears, in your victories and your failures. I saw the choices you would make, even the ones that would break you, and still I said, yes, this one is mine. That is how deep my love runs for you. It is a love that chooses you, knowing every valley you will walk through. I saw your heart before pain touched it. I saw the fire you would carry, the kindness that would flow through your words, the compassion that would spill from your scars. Nothing about you is accidental. The details of your being are divine design. Every fiber of your soul carries my imprint. Even the parts you hide from the world, even the flaws you try to fix, are held in my tenderness. I shaped you with intention, breathed purpose into your lungs, and wrapped eternity around your destiny. And though time tries to convince you that you are merely surviving, I tell you this: you were placed here as part of something infinite. Your existence is not random. You were planted in this generation to reveal something of my nature to the world, something no one else could ever reveal in quite the same way. You carry a reflection of me that is unique to you. When I look upon you, I do not see the sum of your mistakes. I see the glory I placed within you before the beginning. I see potential still unfolding, beauty still forming, grace still growing. I see you standing at the edge of what feels like uncertainty, yet all along, I have been surrounding you with certainty, my presence, my plan, my promise. You are the result of eternal thought, not temporary chance. You are loved with an everlasting love that does not fade, does not weaken, does not run dry. I have watched every moment of your journey, the times you've run toward me, and the times you've turned away, and my heart has never wavered in its pursuit. I see you now, weary perhaps, wondering if you've missed your moment, if somehow the path has shifted too far for you to find your way again. But I tell you, my beloved, I have been walking beside you in every step. Nothing is lost with me. Nothing escapes my sight. I saw the way you would rise again, the way faith would flicker like a spark inside you even when the world tried to drown it out. I saw you when you could no longer see yourself, and I held you through nights you thought no one noticed. You have never been out of my vision, not for a heartbeat. You are the one I saw, the one I formed, the one I have loved since before time began. And now, As I speak these words into your spirit, know that this is not a new revelation. It is a reminder of what has always been true. Before the foundations of the earth, I saw you, and I have never stopped seeing you. You need to hear this now, because your heart has lingered in questions for too long. I could not keep this from you any longer. You have walked through seasons where it felt like you were moving through fog, where your prayers seemed to rise and hit a ceiling, where you whispered in the dark, "Lord, where are you?" and heard no answer that satisfied the ache inside you. Yet all this time, while you wondered if I had turned away, I have been leaning closer than you realized, watching over every step, waiting for the moment when your heart would be ready to receive what I am now uncovering. Eternity holds no secrets from me, but there are mysteries I unfold to you in their proper time, because I love you too much to give you what you are not yet strong enough to carry. I have waited for this moment to whisper. What you thought was distance was actually my protection. What you interpreted as silence was the sound of me working behind the scenes. You look at the gaps in your story and call them voids, but I call them sacred spaces where I was doing more than you could see. You have wondered why certain answers did not come when you wanted them, why certain doors remained closed no matter how hard you knocked, and deep inside, you entertained the fear that maybe you were forgotten, overlooked, or somehow disqualified from my goodness. But hear me, child, I have never once forgotten you, misplaced you, or changed my mind about you. I have carried the full weight of your days in my heart, and I have known exactly when to reveal each piece of my plan. Just as a loving parent does not put a heavy burden on a child's shoulders before they are strong enough to bear it, I have guarded you from certain things until this appointed time. There were blessings that would have crushed you had they come too soon, positions that would have made you proud instead of humble, relationships that would have distracted you from me instead of drawing you closer. I held those things back, not because you were unworthy, but because you are precious, and I am careful with what belongs to me. I could not keep from you forever the truth that I have been fully, deeply, passionately involved in the details of your life, even when you assumed I was inactive. I saw the moments you almost walked away from me in disappointment, thinking, if you loved me, why this? Why now? Why like this? And still I stayed. I stayed in your story when you did not understand my script. I stayed in your life when you doubted my goodness. I stayed in the middle of your confusion, writing hope into chapters you despised. And now I am pulling back the veil, not all at once, but piece by piece, so you can see that my hand was never absent. There are things you have gone through that you thought were proof of my rejection. Soon you will see they were evidence of my careful, deliberate weaving. I could not keep from you any longer the assurance that your life is not a random series of accidents but a divinely ordered journey where every step, even the missteps, have been folded into my redemptive plan. I want you to understand that my heart has ached with yours, that I have collected your tears, that I have sat with you in the silence you thought was empty and turned it into soil for what I am about to grow. This is why I am speaking now, piercing through your numbness, calling your spirit back to awareness. There is more happening in your story than you know, and I am not finished with you. I never was. You have reached the threshold of a new unfolding, and I refuse to let you cross it still carrying the lie that I have been distant or indifferent. I am the God who draws near, and I am nearer to you in this very moment than you have ever realized. I could not remain silent about this any longer. You are loved. You are seen. Your story is still in my hands, and what comes next has always been held in the quiet chambers of my heart, waiting for this exact time to be revealed to you. You have been so afraid to say it out loud, yet I have heard it echo in the back of your mind. Lord, why were you so quiet when I needed you most? You have carried those questions like hidden weights in your soul, trying to keep your faith intact on the outside while inside you wrestled with disappointment, confusion, and even anger at me. You have wondered why your pain lingered when I could have ended it with a word, why the waiting stretched far beyond what you believed you could bear, why the healing, the breakthrough, the answer did not arrive when your heart was breaking in real time. I want you to know that I have not only heard those questions, I have honored them, because they came from a heart that still believed I was there, even when you did not understand me. You assumed my silence meant absence, but I tell you now, it meant involvement at a depth you could not yet perceive. When you cried out and saw nothing change on the surface, I was moving beneath what your eyes could see, rearranging things that would one day make sense, strengthening foundations that would have crumbled had I given you immediate relief without lasting transformation. You asked me to remove the pain, but I knew that if I only removed it without healing the root of it, it would return in another form. So I stayed with you in the fire, not because I enjoyed your suffering, but because I refused to leave you partially healed, half free, still chained to the unseen lies beneath your wounds. I watched the nights you lay awake staring at the ceiling, thinking I was ignoring your tears. In reality, I was counting every one, holding them as seeds for future joy. I heard your heart say, "If you love me, why didn't you step in sooner?" And I knew that one day, as I am telling you now, I would show you that I did step in, not always to change your circumstances immediately, but to change you in ways that would carry you for a lifetime. There were prayers you prayed that I did not answer in the way you expected, not because I wanted to disappoint you, but because I was answering the deeper prayer you didn't know how to pray. Make me who you created me to be. I have seen the moments you felt numb in worship, unable to feel my presence, and you thought something was wrong with you. But in those moments, I was inviting you into a faith that is not built on emotion alone, but on trust, on the quiet assurance that I am who I say I am even when your feelings cannot trace me. Your pain has never been ignored in my kingdom. It has been processed through my love, filtered through my wisdom, and woven into my purpose. When you thought you were stuck, frozen in a season that would never end, I was still leading you forward, sometimes one breath at a time, teaching you to lean on me when you had no strength of your own. The waiting you despised has carved depths in you that shallow answers could never reach. The silence you feared has trained your spirit to recognize my voice in ways that noise never would. You have asked, why did it have to hurt so much? And while I will not glorify your suffering, I will redeem it fully. I will not waste a single tear you have shed. I am turning your questions into encounters, your confusion into clarity, your wounds into testimonies that will carry healing for others who walk through similar valleys. I could not let you go on believing that my quiet seasons meant I had abandoned you. I am telling you now, as your God and as the one who loves you beyond comprehension, that every second of your waiting, every ache of your heart, has been seen, known, and held by me. I have not been indifferent to you. I have been invested in you, deeply and relentlessly, and even in the moments when I seemed silent, I was speaking a deeper word into your life. You are not alone, and I am shaping something in you that will outlast this pain. You thought I turned away from you, didn't you? In those quiet moments when the room felt too empty, when the weight of your heart seemed heavier than your body could carry, you convinced yourself that my face had turned from you. You wondered if I had grown weary of your prayers, if perhaps your tears had become too frequent, too familiar to move me anymore. But I tell you the truth, my child. I never turned away, not even once. My eyes have been upon you through every storm and every silence. I saw you clench your fists when life felt unfair. I heard the way your heart whispered, "Why, Lord?" when the pain didn't lift. I saw the days you dragged yourself forward with faith so fragile it could barely be called faith at all. And I want you to know, Those were the moments that drew me closest to you. I was not standing far off watching you struggle. I was right there, wrapping my arms around your unseen wounds, speaking comfort that your soul received even when your mind could not interpret it. You thought my silence was absence, but it was actually the stillness of a father holding his child so tightly that words were no longer needed. I have been closer to you than your very breath. You thought I had withdrawn, when in truth, I was waiting for you to stop striving long enough to realize that my presence does not depend on your performance, your prayers, or your perfection. I do not come and go with your moods. I am the constant that remains when everything else shifts. There were moments when your pain made you believe that I had forgotten your name. But beloved, I never forget what I have created. You are engraved upon the palms of my hands, your name written in the scars that love himself bears. Every heartbeat of yours is a reminder of the life I breathe into you. Even when you doubted me, I still delighted in you. Even when you ran from me, I still followed. I have walked beside you through the very places you thought were gunless, through the hospital corridors, through the gravesides, through the quiet nights of regret. I did not turn away. I was standing guard over your heart, making sure the pain would not destroy the purpose I placed within you. I know there were moments when you said, "If you were here, Lord, this wouldn't have happened." But child, I was there, weeping beside you, feeling what you felt, seeing the larger picture that you could not yet see. My love did not fail you. It was anchoring you in ways that would one day reveal that nothing was wasted. Every unanswered prayer, every delay, every silence, they were not rejections but redirections. You thought I turned away when I did not answer right away, but I was protecting something far more valuable than your momentary comfort. I was preserving your destiny. I could not let temporary relief rob you of eternal purpose. So I waited. I waited not because I didn't care, but because I cared too deeply to give you less than my best. Every step you took, every tear that fell, every cry that rose from your soul has been gathered into the rhythm of my plan. You never walked a single step alone. I was the whisper that told you to keep going when you wanted to give up. I was the unseen strength that kept you breathing when you thought you could not take another day. And I am still here, not turning away, not withdrawing, but inviting you to see me again, to lift your eyes from the shadows and recognize that I have been standing right in front of you all along. My child, I will never turn away from you, for I have already turned my face toward you forever, sealed by love that cannot break and mercy that cannot end. Do you know why I hid my purpose from you for a time? It was never to punish you, but to protect you. There are things that grow only in hiddenness, and you were one of them. When you looked around and saw nothing moving, when you prayed and received no answer, when you searched for direction and found only silence, you thought I had abandoned you. But what I was doing was cultivating something sacred in secret. Just as a seed must lie unseen beneath the soil before it bursts forth in life, so my purpose for you had to mature beneath the surface before it could rise into full light. If I had revealed too much too soon, it would have overwhelmed you. You would have run toward what was not ready or tried to carry a calling you had not yet grown strong enough to bear. I hid certain things from your understanding not because you were undeserving, but because I was building endurance in you. There are seasons when revelation can destroy rather than bless if it comes before time. You asked me to show you the full picture, and I heard you. But I also saw what would have happened if I had given you the map before you learned to trust the guide. So I hid it. I hid it not as a denial, but as a divine delay. A sacred pause that allowed you to develop the character needed to sustain what I am now preparing to release. I watched you in those moments when you felt forgotten, when you asked, "Lord, why can't I see where this is going?" And I wanted to tell you, because I am doing something greater than you can imagine. I was teaching you faith that thrives without sight, obedience that moves without explanation, love that believes without proof. You could not see it, but every hidden day was heaven's training ground. I was chiseling away your fear, refining your motives, strengthening your spiritual muscles for the weight of the glory ahead. Hiddenness has never meant abandonment. It is the womb of revelation. The purpose I placed in you needed the darkness to take shape, just as stars can only shine against the night sky. You have mistaken my secrecy for rejection, but my withholding was actually preserving you. There were doors you were not ready to walk through yet, not because you were incapable, but because I was still aligning circumstances, preparing hearts, and softening ground that would receive you when the time was right. If I had given you what you asked for earlier, you would have settled for something smaller than what I intended. So I hid it, holding the fullness of your destiny in my hands, waiting for the moment when your spirit would be ready to embrace it. You thought I was keeping blessings from you, but I was keeping you for the blessings. Every season of silence was me drawing you closer, teaching you that my presence is not found in predictable patterns but in trust. I hid my purpose not to confuse you, but to prepare you. And now, as the fog begins to lift, as you sense that something is shifting within you, know this: what I hid was never lost. It has been growing in the unseen, gathering strength, waiting for the appointed time. My child, I never meant for you to feel punished. I only meant for you to be protected. Because what I have for you is too holy, too precious, too costly to release prematurely. I hid it for a reason, and soon you will see that the hiding was the beginning of the unveiling. Every tear you cried was not wasted. It was sacred, seen, and gathered as rain upon the soil of a promise I planted deep within you. You thought your tears were proof of weakness, that somehow your broken moments meant you were slipping further from faith. But I tell you this: every drop that fell from your eyes carried the weight of something eternal. When you cried in the quiet and no one else noticed, I noticed. When you wiped your eyes and told yourself to stay strong, I was the one holding the strength you thought you had lost. You did not know it then, but your tears were watering what your faith could not yet see. I have always worked in the soil of your sorrow. The moments that felt barren were the very places where my hand was cultivating new life. You thought the ground was dead because nothing grew when you expected it to, but under the surface, roots were spreading, unseen, unstoppable. The tears you cried in confusion were faith in liquid form, the evidence that even when you didn't understand me, you still turned toward me. Every time you wept and said, "I still believe," even if your voice trembled, the heavens recorded that as worship. I have never ignored your pain. I have turned it into purpose. The world teaches that tears are a sign of despair, but I tell you that they are signs of depth. They mean you have loved, hoped, trusted, and reached beyond yourself. There are promises I made to you that required the water of tears to awaken them, for some seeds only break open in the presence of sorrow. And though you did not see the promise then, I was watching it germinate. I was never far from you when you cried. I was not waiting for you to stop mourning before I moved. I was moving in your mourning. Every tear that fell carried a silent prayer, and I heard them all. I'm transforming what was once grief into growth, what was once loss into legacy. So, do not despise your tears, beloved. They have been watering a promise that is about to bloom. You may not recognize it yet, but the very places where you wept will become the places where you will rejoice. I am faithful to redeem even your crying, for though you sowed in tears, you will surely reap in joy, and the harvest will be worth every tear you ever cried. You called it a delay. I called it design. Every time you looked at the calendar and wondered why the promise had not yet come, I was quietly arranging the details of your destiny. You thought I was holding you back, but I was holding you together. There were moments when you wanted me to rush, to open doors before you knocked, to make things happen simply because you were tired of waiting. But I have never been careless with timing. My slowness is not neglect, it is precision. You were not waiting for me. I was waiting for the right moment when your heart, your surroundings, and my greater purpose would align. You could not see what I was shielding you from, but every delay was mercy disguised as stillness. I watched you grow restless, frustrated, even questioning whether the dream you carried was real. You whispered, "Maybe I heard wrong," but you did not. The promise was true. It was simply maturing. Like fruit that needs a season to ripen, the vision I gave you was not ready to be tasted yet. If I had given it to you too soon, it would have spoiled under the weight of unprepared hands. You thought waiting meant I had forgotten. It actually meant I was perfecting. The delay was never about withholding something from you. It was about forming something within you: resilience, patience, discernment, and trust that can withstand any storm. I saw how you tried to push doors open on your own, and when they didn't budge, you wondered if I had abandoned you. But I was teaching you something far more powerful: how to move by peace instead of pressure, how to recognize my not yet as protection instead of punishment. The waiting has not been wasted. It has been the sacred classroom of your calling. Every quiet season you endured has built the strength you'll need for what's ahead. When you step into the next chapter, you will look back and thank me that I didn't give you what you wanted when you wanted it. You will see that every delay was the exact path to destiny, not a detour from it. So breathe, beloved. Stop calling this pause an obstacle. It is my preparation. The moment you thought I was late was the very moment I was right on time. I was there on those nights you almost gave up, when you stared at the ceiling, too tired to pray, whispering, "I can't do this anymore." You thought no one heard you, but I did. I was sitting beside you, collecting every sigh, feeling every tremor of your heart. You thought the silence meant no one cared, but I was closer in those moments than ever before. I saw the weight pressing against your spirit, the fatigue that crept into your soul after fighting battles no one else even knew existed. I watched as you smiled during the day, pretending everything was fine, only to crumble when the lights went out. You felt unseen, but I never took my eyes off you. When you almost let go, I strengthened your grip. When your faith wavered, mine held steady. I sent hope to you in ways you didn't always recognize. A song that made you cry, a verse that felt like it was written just for you, a stranger's kindness at the exact moment your heart was breaking. I orchestrated those moments not by accident, but by compassion. You almost gave up, but something deep inside you, the part of you that I breathed into existence, refused to let go completely. That spark was me. You thought it was your last bit of willpower, but it was my spirit whispering, "Hold on, the story isn't over." Every time you rose again after feeling like you couldn't, you revealed the resilience I planted in you long before you faced the storm. You've called yourself weak, but I've called you enduring. You said, "I can't go on," and yet here you are, proof that grace can carry what human strength cannot. You thought the nights you almost gave up were moments of failure, but they were actually the turning points of faith. Every time you refused to quit, heaven applauded. I am not disappointed in your weariness. I am moved by your perseverance. I know how hard it's been to trust when everything feels broken. But hear me. You have not come this far to end in defeat. I am still writing, still redeeming, still turning ashes into beauty. You thought you were at the end, but you were only at the edge of becoming who you were always meant to be. You thought the wilderness meant I was angry with you, that perhaps you had done something to lose my favor. But hear me, your wilderness was never punishment. It was process. You walked through dry seasons, yes, but every grain of dust beneath your feet was holy ground of transformation. I was not sending you there to harm you. I was sending you there to heal you. You prayed for strength, and I answered by leading you into the place where strength is born. The wilderness is not a place of rejection. It is where dependence is refined, where everything false is stripped away so the truth of who you are and who I am can stand unshaken. You called it loneliness, but I called it intimacy, because it was there, in the silence, where my voice could echo louder than the noise that surrounded you before. When everything familiar faded, it was not loss, it was alignment. I was removing the distractions that had dulled your hearing so you could finally recognize me in the stillness. You see, the wilderness teaches you what abundance cannot. It teaches you that even when you have nothing, you still have me, and I am enough. There were times you cried out, "Why this path? Why so hard?" And I whispered back, "Because you asked to know me deeply, and this is the road that leads there." You could not see it then, but every test was revealing your resilience. Every delay was strengthening your patience. Every disappointment was carving space for the deeper joy I planned to fill you with. You thought I had abandoned you, but I was closer than your own heartbeat, guiding you through terrain that felt barren only because new life had not yet emerged. The wilderness was the place where I removed what you didn't need, old fears, false dependencies, misplaced trust, so that you could carry the purity of faith into your next season. It was never about what you lost, but about what you gained: clarity, courage, conviction, and a heart that beats in rhythm with mine. My beloved, I did not bring you through the wilderness to leave you there. I brought you there to show you that I am your source, your sustainer, your shelter in every storm. You are not wandering. You are being led. The wilderness is not the end of your story. It is the chapter where your character is forged and your spirit learns the language of grace. You called it loss, but I called it preparation. Every time something left your life, every friendship that faded, every opportunity that slipped away, every plan that collapsed, I was not taking from you. I was clearing space for something greater. I know it hurt. I know you looked at what you loved and watched it fall apart and thought, "Why would you let this happen?" You didn't understand that some things must end for new beginnings to breathe. I allowed what felt like loss not because I wanted to see you broken, but because I wanted to see you whole. There were things you clung to that could not go where I am taking you. You thought those things were essential, but they were only seasonal. I could not let temporary attachments hold you back from eternal purpose. You were asking me for increase, but your hands were too full to receive it. So I pried open your grip, gently but firmly, because love sometimes has to take away before it can give. You mourned what you lost, and I wept with you, but I also rejoiced, because I knew that what was coming would make the pain worthwhile. Every door that closed was not rejection, it was redirection. Every ending was an invitation to trust me in the in-between. When you felt stripped bare, when you thought there was nothing left, I was planting the seeds of something new beneath the soil of surrender. You see, growth often disguises itself as grief. What you buried in tears will one day rise in joy. I never take without purpose, and I never leave empty what I intend to fill. You will look back one day and see that the things you thought were losses were actually exchanges, trades of lesser things for the fullness of my promise. You have not been diminished. You have been refined. You have not been abandoned. You have been repositioned. I know it hath been painful to let go, but what I am bringing next will not only replace what you lost, it will redeem it. What once broke you will become the very foundation of your blessing. You prayed for me to calm the storm, And instead, I taught you to walk on water. You wanted me to remove the difficulty, but I wanted to reveal the power I had already placed inside you. You looked at the waves and thought they would drown you, but I saw them as your training ground. I have never enjoyed seeing you struggle, but I have always loved watching you rise. I know how loud the wind was, how fierce the waves became, how certain you were that you would sink. But even as you trembled, I was holding you. I could have silenced the storm instantly, but if I had done that, you would have never discovered that I have placed my courage within you. Every step you took in fear was a declaration of faith, and though you stumbled, you never sank without my hand lifting you again. The storm was not a punishment, it was a platform. It revealed that your survival was never dependent on perfect conditions but on perfect trust. You see, miracles do not happen in calm seas, they happen in chaos. I know you begged me for peace, but sometimes peace is not the absence of the storm. It is my presence within it. I was not ignoring your cries. I was answering them in a way you did not expect. I was teaching you to rise above the very things that threatened to pull you under. I know you wanted comfort, but I wanted confidence. I wanted you to look back one day and realize that the very waves that terrified you were the same ones that carried you closer to me. You will never forget the sound of the storm, but you will remember even more the sound of my voice calling you above it. My child, I never let you drown. I taught you to dance on the waters that once scared you. A storm did not defeat you. It defined you. You thought you were alone in that valley, the place where light seemed to disappear, where prayers went unanswered, where even your faith felt too fragile to hold. You thought I left you there, that perhaps your pain was too great for my presence, but hear me now. You were never abandoned, not even for a heartbeat. I was there when you sank to the floor and whispered that you couldn't go on. I was there when the tears blurred your vision, and your hands trembled under the weight of what life had taken from you. You looked around and saw no one. I was beside you, invisible yet undeniable, holding your breaking heart in my hands. When you felt like giving up, I was breathing courage back into you. You thought the darkness was evidence of my absence, but it was actually the shadow of my wings covering you. The valley was never a place of abandonment. It was the proving ground of intimacy. It was there you learned that even when your strength failed, my love did not. I did not leave when the people you depended on disappeared. I did not flinch when you doubted, nor turn away when your prayers turned into silence. I stood with you, unshaken, whispering through every breath of fear, I'm still here. You did not always hear me, but you felt something holding you together when everything else fell apart. That was me. Every night you survived was not by accident. It was grace in motion. Every morning you opened your eyes again was a miracle unfolding. You have walked through valleys that few will ever understand, and yet, you have come through them with a tenderness that proves love was walking with you all along. You thought the valley would bury you, but it became the very path through which you found me more deeply. I am not the God who watches from afar. I am the one who sits with you in your sorrow, who walks with you through the shadows, who turns graves into gardens. You may not have seen me then, but I never left. I never will. You are still standing, and that alone is proof that you were never abandoned, even in your darkest valley. You've asked me so many times, why did it have to hurt like this? And though your voice trembled with exhaustion, I have treasured every question, because it meant your heart still reached for me even through the pain. You see, your suffering was never a sign of my absence. It was the ink I used to write your purpose. I never cause pain to destroy. I allow it to reveal. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every loss has been a word in the larger story I am writing through your life. I know that sounds difficult to accept, especially when all you could feel was the sting of betrayal or the ache of unanswered prayers. But just as a painter must use shadows to make light visible, I used your pain to give meaning to your promise. You thought your wounds disqualified you, but they have qualified you in ways success never could. I have written compassion into your soul through every scar you carry. What once hurt you is now what will heal others, because pain transformed by love becomes power. You don't have to pretend you understand everything. I only ask that you trust me with what you don't. I was with you in the moments you thought I was silent, shaping something eternal inside you. Pain is not punishment, it is preparation. It presses you toward deeper empathy, deeper awareness, deeper surrender. You are not broken beyond repair, you are being refined beyond recognition. Every tear has carved rivers of understanding that will flow from you to others who need it most. You may not see it yet, but one day you will look back and recognize how purpose was hidden in every ache. Nothing you've endured will be wasted. I have turned your suffering into a canvas of grace, a story that shouts, "Love never leaves." I have written your purpose not with ink that fades, but with the very experiences that tried to destroy you, and I will use them to reveal my glory through you. You spent too long letting your past name you. You've worn labels that never belonged to you. Failure, broken, unworthy, forgotten. You've looked at the scars on your heart and believed they told the full story of who you are. But I am here to tell you that those wounds are not your definition. They are reminders of where you've been healed. You have looked backward for too long, measuring yourself by what you lost, what you did, or what others said you were. But I see you differently. When I look at you, I don't see the shame you've carried or the mistakes that haunt you. I see my image reflected back at me. You are not what happened to you. You are who I designed you to be before pain ever touched your story. The world may keep trying to pull you back into your past, but I am pulling you forward into your true identity. You've allowed memories to become mirrors, but I am giving you new eyes to see yourself the way I do, redeemed, restored, radiant. You say I'm too damaged, but I say you are my masterpiece, made whole in me. I know what it feels like to live beneath the weight of old wounds, to carry names that were never meant for you. But I did not call you to live trapped in yesterday's definitions. I called you to walk in freedom. The scars you carry are not stains of shame. They are seals of victory. They tell the world that you've survived what was meant to destroy you and come out shining with grace. Let go of who you used to be so you can become who you already are in my eyes. You are chosen. You are loved. You are new. Your past was a chapter, not the whole book. I have written a future for you that doesn't repeat your pain. It redeems it. Stop calling yourself by names I never gave you, and start answering to the one I have always spoken over you, mine. You've carried the weight of what happened to you like it was your identity, haven't you? You've replayed the moments that broke you, labeling yourself by the pain instead of by the promise. You've let your past define the shape of your worth, the limits of your hope, and the sound of your voice. But I need you to hear me now. You are not what happened to you. You are who I say you are. You are not the sum of your mistakes, the failures others love to remember, or the memories that haunt your quiet moments. You are not the rejection that wounded you, nor the betrayal that left you questioning your value. You are mine, that has always been your truest name. The world may see your scars as evidence of weakness, but I see them as proof that grace has done its work. You are still standing, and that is not by accident. I have watched you survive what was meant to destroy you, rise from ashes that others thought would bury you, and rebuild your faith in the ruins of disappointment. You've confused pain with identity for too long, but pain is not who you are. It is what you've walked through. You are defined not by what broke you, but by what I've breathed into you. My strength, my beauty, my image. You've been looking at your reflection through the cracked glass of your history, but I am giving you a new mirror, one that reflects who you are becoming, not who you were back then. Every wound has become a window through which my light shines. I am not ashamed of your story. I am glorified in your redemption. The world tries to name you by your scars, but I name you by your purpose. I am not asking you to forget what happened. I am asking you to let it be transformed. Let every moment that once brought pain become a place where hope is reborn. Let the ashes of your past testify to the power of renewal. You are not damaged beyond repair. You are rebuilt in grace. You are not a victim. You are a vessel. You are not your past. You are my future for you in motion. Stop rehearsing the lies that say you are less because of what you've endured. Start embracing the truth that you are more because you endured it and still chose to love, to believe, to hope. You are not what happened to you. You are who I say you are, chosen, loved, and unstoppable. You keep trying to earn what was freely given, don't you? You measure yourself by performance, by progress, by perfection, as though my love is a wage you must work for instead of a gift that has already been placed in your hands. But hear me now. You are loved, not for your perfection, but because my perfection lives in you. You keep looking at the flaws, the shortcomings, the moments you missed it, and you tell yourself, maybe I'm too far gone for grace. But grace was never about your ability to get it right. It was about my decision to never let you go. I have seen every failure, every fall, every broken promise, and I have loved you through them all. When you stumbled, I did not step away. I stepped closer. When you doubted, I did not reject you. I reassured you. You have been trying to perfect what I have already made whole. You keep looking for reasons to believe you're worthy, but I am your reason. My love for you does not fluctuate with your mood or your mistakes. It remains constant, anchored in eternity. I did not choose you because you would never fail. I chose you because even in your failure my light would still shine through you. Every imperfection you try to hide is a doorway for my presence to be revealed. My power is not magnified in your strength but in your surrender. You are loved simply because you are mine. You are loved when you are at your best and when you are at your breaking point. You are loved when you're confident and when you're confused, when you're walking tall and when you're crawling forward. Nothing you can do will ever make me love you more, and nothing you have done can make me love you less. The perfection you chase already resides within you. It is my spirit alive in your imperfection, shining brighter because of the cracks. Stop striving to become enough and start believing that you already are. I am not asking you to perform for me. I am asking you to rest in me. I am not impressed by your polish. I am moved by your honesty. You are loved, wholly and endlessly, not because you've earned it, but because you are a reflection of the perfection that cannot be earned, only received. You thought silence meant I was gone. You thought my quietness was distance, that my lack of words was disinterest. But the truth, beloved, is that every season of silence was me teaching you to recognize my whisper. You have been so used to the noise of the world, the constant clamor of opinions, fears, expectations, that you forgot what my still, small voice sounds like. I did not stop speaking. I started speaking differently. I lowered my voice so you would have to lean closer. Silence is not absence. It is intimacy disguised. When I quieted the noise around you, it wasn't to punish you but to pull you nearer. You were searching for thunder, but I was in the breeze. You wanted a sign in the sky, but I was writing my love in the rhythm of your breath. The silence was never empty. It was filled with my presence. Every unanswered question, every long night when heaven seemed still, was me saying, "Come closer. Listen deeper." I wanted to teach you that my voice doesn't always come as a roar. Sometimes it's a whisper that settles like peace upon your soul. You mistook stillness for abandonment, but it was a classroom of trust. It was there, in that sacred quiet, where you learned to discern my heart beyond words. I know the silence was hard. It tested your faith. It stretched your patience. It made you wonder if I had turned away. But now you see, it was in the silence that your spirit matured. It was in the waiting that your hearing became sharper. You no longer need the noise to know I'm near. Now you can sense me in the subtle, in the sunrise, in a gentle nudge, in the tears that fall without reason. The silence was never me withdrawing. It was me refining your awareness. I am not a God who only speaks in grand gestures. I am the one who whispers to your soul when all else grows quiet, teaching you that my presence is not found in the volume of sound, but in the depth of stillness. You thought I'd stopped speaking, but I was teaching you to hear me in ways you never had before. You have been walking through fog for so long that confusion began to feel like your normal. You squinted into uncertainty, praying for even a flicker of direction, wondering if I still had a plan or if you somehow drifted too far off course. But hear me now. I am bringing clarity. The haze that once surrounded your thoughts, the tangled emotions that made it hard to see what's real and what's fear, I am parting them like morning light breaking through mist. I have watched you wrestle with decisions, question whether you've made irreversible mistakes, and doubt if you still hear me correctly. Yet even in your confusion, you never truly lost me. I have been guiding you in ways too subtle for your understanding, moving pieces that were invisible to you, realigning what the world called chaos into divine choreography. You thought the silence meant I wasn't answering, but I was answering differently, through closed doors that protected you, through unrest that urged you forward, through moments of discomfort that pushed you into growth. Now, in this very season, I am opening your eyes to see what I've been doing all along. The questions that tormented you will begin to unfold into peace, not because you will understand everything, but because you will recognize my fingerprints in what once felt random. You will see that I was not withholding direction, but preparing revelation. Clarity does not always arrive as explanation. Sometimes it comes as stillness, a quiet knowing that I've been steering you even through the storms. What once felt like wandering will now feel like purpose. You will understand why certain things had to end and why others had to take their time to bloom. You will see how I've used even your confusion to sharpen your discernment. You will know that what you once called delay was simply the process of aligning heaven's timing with your readiness. I am bringing clarity not to prove you wrong, but to remind you that I've been right here all along, working in the unseen, shaping what is eternal, guiding you back to the truth that peace was never lost. It was waiting for you to see through my eyes. The fog is lifting, beloved. You will walk forward not in fear, but in confidence, because clarity has come, not from knowing everything, but from knowing that I am with you in everything. You cried over doors that would not open. You blamed yourself for opportunities that slipped through your fingers, for relationships that ended without reason, for moments that seemed to close before they began. But child, what you called rejection, I have always called redirection. I never shut a door without purpose. I always close what cannot carry you where I'm taking you. You saw rejection as evidence of unworthiness, but it was actually proof of protection. I was shielding you from counterfeit blessings, things that looked right but would have broken you if you had forced your way through. You saw no as my absence, but it was my mercy disguised as disappointment. Every time you cried, "Why not me?" I was whispering, "Because there's more for you." There were people who walked away that you begged me to let stay, but I knew their presence would have kept you smaller than I created you to be. There were doors you pounded on that I refused to unlock, not because I enjoyed seeing you hurt, but because beyond those doors was a future that didn't fit your purpose. You have spent so much energy trying to understand what you lost that you missed the greater truth. You were being redirected towards something far more beautiful. I let certain plans fall apart so better ones could come together. I let hearts distance themselves so your heart could finally learn to beat freely without begging for validation. I redirected you not away from good things, but toward the best things, the ones that align with your true calling. One day soon, you will thank me for every rejection that saved you from the wrong direction. You will look back and see how I turned every no into a necessary step toward yes. You will see that I wasn't withholding love or success or opportunity. I was preparing the version of you who could sustain them. You are not forgotten. You are being guided. Every detour has meaning. Every loss has purpose. What felt like rejection was me steering you gently, firmly, unerringly toward what you were always meant to receive. The time has come for me to tell you what I've been holding in the quiet places of my heart. What you lost will return, but not as it was. It will come back more beautiful than before. I saw the pain that followed your loss, the ache that refused to fade, the nights you stared into the past trying to make sense of it all. I know how you mourned the dream that died, the love that ended, the opportunity that vanished like smoke. I know you asked me to give it back exactly as it was, but I couldn't, because I am not in the business of rewinding. I am in the work of redeeming. You see, I never allow loss without preparing resurrection. What you thought was gone forever has been resting in my hands, being reshaped, refined, and renewed. I could not keep this truth from you any longer. Restoration is on its way. But it will not look like the past. It will look like promise fulfilled. The people who left made room for better alignment. The dreams that died are being reborn in greater detail. Even the parts of you that felt lost, your joy, your peace, your wonder, are being revived. I am returning not replicas but revelations. You will recognize traces of what was, but they will be made whole, matured by grace and transformed by time. You thought loss was the end, but it was only the pruning before the bloom. I never take without intending to multiply. I never allow endings that don't birth beginnings. Every moment you spent grieving was watering the soil for resurrection. So lift your eyes, beloved. New life is already forming around you. You may not see it yet, but you will feel it. The stirring of hope, the warmth of joy, the quiet certainty that something long buried is about to live again. I am restoring you, not to where you were, but to where you were always meant to be. What you lost will return, not as a shadow of the past, but as the full, radiant fulfillment of my promise to you. You have been asking me to give back what you lost, to return things to the way they once were, but hear me now. The restoration I am bringing will not be a repetition of the past. It will be a resurrection of what was once dead. I am not bringing you back to where you were. I am bringing you forward into what you were always meant to become. You have prayed for me to rebuild what was broken, but I am not using the same blueprints. The old structure could not hold the glory that is coming. What you once said was good for that season, but I am crafting something beyond your imagination, something that carries the strength of your scars and the wisdom of your wilderness. I am not reviving a memory. I am birthing something entirely new. You thought what died was final, but death has never been the end in my hands. I have been working in the unseen, breathing life into what others called finished. You thought the loss defined you, but it only refined you. Every heartbreak, every closed chapter, Every season that faded into silence has been gathering power for this very moment. When I restore, I do not copy, I create. I take ashes and turn them into beauty. I take endings and turn them into beginnings. What is coming will not resemble what was. It will carry redemption's mark, stronger, fuller, richer than before. You may have thought that resurrection meant simply reviving what was taken, but true resurrection is transformation. It is the old made new, the broken made beautiful, the forgotten made fruitful. You will recognize glimpses of what once was, but they will shine with the brilliance of something that has been touched by eternity. The relationships I will bring will be deeper, the joy purer, the purpose clearer. I am not restoring you to familiarity. I am restoring you to fullness. Stop looking backward for signs of life. Life is rising in front of you. I am the God who makes all things new, not some things, not occasionally, but continually. What once seemed lifeless in your hands is not beyond my reach. I am breathing into it even now, awakening dreams you buried, reigniting faith you thought had faded. When I finish, you will not say, "It is as it was," but it is more than I ever dreamed. For I do not return what was lost, I resurrect it into glory. You have looked over the years of your life and wondered, what was it all for? You've asked me why certain doors opened only to close again, why relationships formed and then fractured, why seasons of promise turned into seasons of pain. But I tell you now, nothing has been wasted. Not the tears, not the waiting, not the missteps, not even the moments you wish you could erase. I have been weaving every thread into a masterpiece, even the ones you thought were mistakes. You have measured progress by what you could see, but I have been working in what you could not. Every disappointment has carried purpose. Every delay has carried instruction. I have used what hurt you to teach you endurance, what confused you to shape your discernment, what you lost to remind you that what's eternal cannot be taken. Even your failures have served you. They have become the soil from which wisdom now grows. You think too small when you think in terms of waste, because in my hands, every fragment finds form. You not know that I fed multitudes with what was left over. I specialize in leftovers. I turn remnants into revelation, ruins into rebuilding. You see the pieces of your life scattered, but I see a mosaic, a picture only visible from heaven's view. I have been in every season, even the ones you thought I abandoned. I was shaping your character when you thought I was silent. I was deepening your roots when you thought you were stuck. I was redirecting you when you thought you had failed. Nothing has been in vain. Every tear has watered growth. Every closed door has guided your steps. Every lonely night has carved space for deeper intimacy with me. I am redeeming your timeline. The wasted years, the broken plans, the deferred hopes, and I will show you how I've used them all. When you look back, you will not see waste, you will see wisdom. You will see how I used every detour to lead you home, how I turned every why into now I understand. So do not despise the unfinished chapters, for I am the author who never leaves a story incomplete. You are not behind. You are being refined. You have not lost time. You have been prepared for divine timing. Nothing had been wasted. Not a day, not a breath, not a single moment of your journey. All of it has led you here, where redemption begins to reveal what grace has been writing all along. You spent so much time hiding your weaknesses, apologizing for them, trying to outgrow or outrun them, believing that they disqualify you from what I've called you to do. But listen closely, even your weaknesses have been part of my plan. The cracks you've tried so hard to conceal are the very places my light shines through. I never asked you to be flawless. I asked you to be faithful. You have mistaken strength for perfection, but true strength is born in surrender. Every limitation you despise has served a divine purpose. to keep you humble, to draw you closer, to remind you that it was never your ability that sustained you, but my grace. You've prayed for me to remove your thorns, but I've kept some of them, not as punishment, but as reminders that dependence on me is your greatest power. The moments you felt too weak to continue were not failures. They were revelations of my strength working within you. When your knees trembled under the weight of your calling, I was there, steadying your steps. When you said, "I can't," I whispered, "I can," through you. Your weaknesses have become sacred meeting places between your humanity and my divinity. You've compared yourself to others who seem stronger, wiser, or more capable, but what you cannot see is that I've written a unique story through your imperfection, one that no one else could live. You think your weakness disqualifies you, but it distinguishes you. It is the vessel through which grace becomes visible to the world. I am not asking you to hide your flaws. I am asking you to let them testify. The same weaknesses that once brought you shame will become evidence of my power. I take what the world calls broken and make it breathtaking. I take the fragile and make it fruitful. My plan was never to make you independent of me, but interwoven with me. So stop trying to erase what I have decided to embrace. Stop despising the very parts of yourself I am using to display my love. My power is not waiting for your perfection. It is working through your vulnerability. You are not a mistake in progress. You are a masterpiece in process. Every weakness is a doorway through which my glory enters. Trust that I know what I'm doing with you, even the parts of you you've never learned to love. You think I've forgotten, don't you? The prayers whispered in the stillness of night, the ones you stopped repeating because silence followed too long, I've heard every single one. Not one word, not one tear, not one sigh escaped my notice. You prayed and waited, prayed and wondered, prayed and wept, and when nothing seemed to move, you assumed I wasn't listening. But I tell you now, I was listening all along. I have kept your prayers in the chambers of my heart, storing them like seeds for their appointed time. Just because you haven't seen the harvest doesn't mean the soil is barren. Some prayers take longer because what you've asked for requires the rearrangement of many things: hearts, seasons, circumstances. I am not delaying to frustrate you. I am aligning everything perfectly. I have never forgotten what you asked of me in faith. Those nights you whispered, "Lord, remember me," I did. You asked me for healing, and though it did not come in the way you imagined, I began healing things in you far deeper than what you named. You asked for doors to open, and I was preparing you for rooms you didn't know existed. You asked for peace, and I was teaching you how to carry it even in the storm. I do not discard prayers, I develop them. I answer not on your timeline, but on the timeline of transformation. What I began in you through those hidden prayers, I will complete before the world in ways that make it clear. I remembered. You may have forgotten some of what you asked me, but I have not. I have engraved your words into eternity, and they are unfolding even now. Do not assume silence means denial. It often means preparation. What has felt like delay has only been depth. The prayers you prayed in secret are maturing in the soil of my purpose, and when they bloom, you will see that my timing was never late. It was loving. Hold on. The answers are coming, not as a mere fulfillment of your words, but as a revelation of my heart. The waiting is almost over. The time you have spent in hiddenness, in wondering, in hoping against hope, the time is now drawing near its divine unveiling. You have endured the unseen season, the place where growth happens quietly, beneath the surface, away from recognition or reward. But I tell you now, the unseen is about to become undeniable. What I have been building in private, I will soon reveal in power. The prayers that seemed unanswered, the faith that felt unnoticed, the obedience that cost you everything. All of it has been seen, and all of it is about to speak. You thought I was silent, but I was setting the stage. You thought nothing was happening, but everything was. Every hidden act of faith has been preparing you for a moment when the world will see what I have been doing all along. You are about to witness the unveiling of promises that once felt impossible. I am turning whispers into testimonies, waiting into fulfillment, pain into platforms. The things that didn't make sense will begin to align like constellations. What seems scattered will form a pattern that reflects my glory. This is not a sudden miracle. It is the manifestation of years of faithfulness of both yours and mine. You will not need to fight for attention or force the outcome. What I am doing will announce itself. When I turn the unseen into the undeniable, no one will question whether it was me. You will not have to explain or prove. You will simply stand in awe. I am about to make visible what I have long been shaping in the invisible, the strength you didn't know you gained, the growth you didn't realize took root, the purpose that quietly matured in the dark. I am not just answering prayers. I am revealing promises. So lift your eyes, for the horizon is changing. The dawn you've waited for is breaking, and the season of unseen struggle is giving way to visible glory. The world will see what I have been whispering to your soul. You were never forgotten, only being prepared for the undeniable unveiling of my goodness in your life. You've been looking for me in the familiar, expecting me to show up the way I have before, but this time will be different. You will recognize my hand not by what you expected, but by what exceeds your expectations. You have built pictures in your mind of how answered prayer should look, how restoration should unfold, how favor should appear, but I am not limited by your imagination. I am doing something that will surprise even your faith. You have asked for doors to open, and I am about to reveal windows you didn't know existed. You have prayed for small signs of my presence, but I am preparing wonders that will leave you speechless. The blessings I am bringing will not fit the molds of your predictions. They will overflow them. I am not coming in the way that is comfortable. I am coming in the way that is transformational. You may not recognize my work at first, because it won't look like the answer you expected, but in time, you will see that it was more than you could have dreamed. I will move in the people you least anticipate, through the moments you overlook, and in the details you thought were insignificant. I will use even what others meant for harm to display my glory in your life. When you see it, you will know it could have only been me, too timely to be coincidence, too perfect to be chance. I am not merely giving you what you asked for. I am giving you what your soul needs and what your destiny demands. My answers are not small, because my heart toward you is not small. I am the God who delights in doing immeasurably more than all you can ask or think. You have settled for restoration, but I am bringing resurrection. You have hoped for partial healing, but I am bringing wholeness. You have asked me to fix what was broken, but I am creating something entirely new. You will soon stand in awe, realizing that I did not forget a single word you prayed. I simply chose to answer it in ways that would stretch your vision and expand your heart. I am not just exceeding your expectations. I am exceeding the limits you've unknowingly placed on my love. Prepare yourself, for when you see my hand move, it will not just meet your hopes, it will redefine them. You've been walking with trembling hands and tired faith, trying to convince yourself to keep believing even when fear whispers louder than hope. But I am about to move in ways that will silence your fears and awaken your faith again. You have wondered if you've missed your moment, if somehow the window of opportunity has closed. But my timing is never too late. I have been watching over every detail, preparing to move at the exact moment that will reveal my power and remind you who I am. Fear has been shouting that you are forgotten, that nothing will change, that your best days are behind you. but my movement will quiet those lies. I am going to shift things so suddenly, so beautifully, that the very areas that made you anxious will become testimonies of peace. I am awakening the faith that trials tried to suffocate. You thought you had lost it, but faith never died. It was simply buried under disappointment, waiting for my breath to revive it. I am sending winds of renewal over your spirit. You will dream again, believe again, expect again. The areas where you've grown numb will begin to pulse with hope. The prayers you stopped praying because they felt pointless will begin to stir in your heart once more. I am moving not just around you, but within you, restoring your courage, reawakening your trust, reigniting your purpose. Do not look at the present through the lens of fear. Look at it through the lens of promise. What once terrified you will no longer intimidate you, because my peace will be your companion. I am silencing the noise of fear with the authority of my presence. You will not have to chase faith. It will rise in you like fire, uncontainable and alive. I am not just stirring emotion. I am birthing conviction, a holy confidence that will carry you into what comes next. When you see how I move, you will remember why you believe in the first place, not because everything was easy, but because you will know again that I have always been faithful. You've been carrying a quiet heaviness, a weight that has settled over your heart like a fog that refuses to lift. You smiled through it, worked through it, prayed through it, yet it clings to you in the moments when no one is watching. But hear me now, that heaviness is lifting. I am exchanging your ashes for beauty, your sorrow for joy, your despair for praise. You have walked through long nights of mourning, through seasons where the light seemed far away, but dawn is coming. I have seen the burden pressing down on you, the unspoken grief, the exhaustion of always being strong, the ache of pretending to be okay, and I am breaking its hold. You were not meant to live beneath the weight of yesterday's pain. I am restoring the lightness that life tried to steal from you. The heaviness you feel is not permanent. It is being replaced with peace that will feel like breathing again after holding your breath for too long. You will find yourself laughing without forcing it, smiling without pretending, singing without sorrow shadowing your voice. I am not merely removing your pain. I am replacing it with beauty that only those who have known ashes can recognize. What once burned you will now bless you. The very things that weighed you down will become reminders of how high grace can lift you. You thought joy was gone for good, but joy has only been waiting for this moment to return. I am lifting the clouds of heaviness and letting light in, not the kind that blinds, but the kind that heals. You will no longer wake up dreading the day. You will rise with expectation again. The ashes of your past are not the end of your story. They are the beginning of something beautiful that only resurrection could write. I am giving you beauty not in exchange for perfection, but in exchange for your surrender. Hand me your pain, your guilt, your fear, your disappointment, and watch as I turn them into something breathtaking. You will not carry this heaviness much longer. You will walk lighter, laugh louder, love deeper, because the ashes you once mourned are being transformed into glory before your eyes. You have listened for so long to the voice that says you failed, that you've gone too far, that you've disappointed me beyond recovery. But that voice was never mine. I have never spoken to you through shame. I have never used guilt to drive you away. I have always used grace to draw you close. You have punished yourself for mistakes I already forgave. You have carried the weight of regret like a chain, believing it keeps you humble, when all it's done is keep you bound. Hear me now. The voice of condemnation is the voice of confusion. It tells you to hide when I'm calling you to come home. It reminds you of your flaws when I'm reminding you of your future. You keep replaying moments in your mind, the words you said, the choices you made, thinking they've rewritten my plans for you. but I am the author who writes redemption into every line. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. You are not defined by the chapters you wish you could erase. You are defined by my love that refuses to let those chapters end in shame. When I look at you, I don't see failure. I see resilience. I see lessons learned, wisdom gained, compassion birthed from the pain. The voice that says you're not enough is not truth. It's the echo of fear trying to drown out my promise. I will never call you by your sin. I call you by your name. You don't have to prove yourself to me. You don't have to earn your way back into favor. You never lost it. My mercy didn't skip over your story. It settled inside it. Every time you think you failed me, I whisper, you can't fail love. A cross was enough then, and it's enough now. So silence the lies that say you're too broken to be used. I'm not finished with you. I'm refining you. I'm turning what was once your shame into a testimony so powerful that it will set others free. The voice that condemns you seeks to bury you, but my voice calls you to rise. And when you finally do, you will see that failure was never your end. It was the soil where my grace began to bloom. You have wondered if you missed it, if the detours, the delays, the decisions you regret somehow ruined the purpose I had for you. But listen closely, my purpose for you is not lost. It is being reintroduced under the light of grace. I don't revoke what I've spoken over you. I restore it. You think your mistakes have altered the map, but I am the one who draws the map around mercy. Nothing you've done has canceled what I began. It has only deepened the story I'm writing through you. The plans I made for you were never fragile. They were forged in love strong enough to outlast your lowest moments. You've told yourself that too much time has passed, that you're too old, too far gone, too weary to begin again. But purpose doesn't expire, it evolves. What I planted in you still lives, waiting for you to see it through the eyes of grace. When you look at your journey, you see detours. When I look at it, I see design. Every path, even the winding ones, has led you here, to this moment of awakening. The failures you feared disqualified you have actually qualified you with wisdom, empathy, and depth that you didn't have before. Grace has been rewriting your timeline, not erasing it. I'm not taking you back to what was. I'm moving you forward into what now can be, purified by experience and illuminated by compassion. My purpose in you is rising again, like dawn after the longest night. I am breathing new fire into old dreams, resurrecting what you thought had died. Do not be afraid of starting again. It is not starting over. It is started renewed. I will use everything you've lived through to make your purpose unstoppable. The world will see a light in you that can only come from one who has walked through darkness and come out glowing with grace. You didn't lose what I gave you. You simply grew into it. So, take my hand again, and watch how beautifully I reintroduce you to what was always yours to carry. Everything I've done in your life, all the pain, the waiting, the transformation, has not been for you alone. What I am doing now will not just bless you, it will heal others through your testimony. You have seen brokenness, you have felt betrayal, you have walked through loss that nearly hollowed you out, and yet you're still standing. That survival is not small, it's sacred. The healing you're receiving now is not only personal, it is generational. Every scar I've touched with grace will carry healing power for someone else who still bleeds. You thought your story was ordinary, but there is nothing ordinary about redemption. I am turning your history into hope for others. The same words you once spoke in despair will one day bring life to those who feel like giving up. You will speak, and others will see the light in your eyes and realize that resurrection is real. You will comfort the wounded because you know how it feels to bleed, You will lead the lost because you remember the wilderness. You will love deeply because you remember what it's like to feel unseen. I have entrusted you with empathy that can't be taught. It's been carved into you through experience. What you're walking into is not just personal restoration, it's kingdom restoration. I'm creating a ripple through your obedience that will reach lives you may never meet. Your pain will not echo endlessly. It will become a chorus of healing. The blessings I'm about to release over you will overflow, not just to fill your hands, but to pour into the lives of others. You won't just be the receiver, you'll be the releaser. You won't just testify of what I've done, you'll become living proof of who I am. Every person who hears your story will see that I waste nothing, that even the darkest chapters can become light when placed in my hands. So walk forward, not in fear, but in holy confidence, knowing that the miracle in you is not meant to stop with you. You are a carrier of healing, a vessel of hope, and through your testimony, I will breathe life into countless hearts who need to know that redemption is not just possible, it's already on its way. You have learned how to endure, how to keep walking when you wanted to stop, how to keep believing when your heart was breaking, how to stand even when the ground beneath you was shifting. But this next season will not be marked by endurance alone. It will be marked by glory. You have been through the fire, and I did not let it consume you. Now you will shine with the brilliance that only refined gold carries. I have seen how you've mistaken survival for stagnation, but I tell you this: your survival has been sacred preparation. Every battle you've fought, every storm you've weathered, every wound you've carried has been shaping the vessel of glory I am about to fill. The days of simply enduring are giving way to days of overflow. You will no longer live in defense, constantly bracing for the next blow. You will live in declaration, testifying to my goodness with power that can no longer be hidden. Glory is not a distant promise. It is the light that has been forming within you through every shadowed season. You thought endurance was the end of the story, but endurance was just the foundation. The glory I am bringing will take what you endured and turn it into evidence of victory. People will look at you and see strength, but you will know it was never your strength. It was mine sustaining you all along. The same faith that kept you alive will now cause you to thrive. I am lifting you from merely surviving into shining. You will not carry the weariness of yesterday into tomorrow. You will carry the wonder of redemption. I have not only preserved you through difficulty, I have positioned you for destiny. The story that once felt defined by endurance will soon be defined by beauty, abundance, and peace. You are stepping into the glory that comes after grief, the joy that rises from ashes, the reward of those who never stopped trusting even when they couldn't see me. The pain you carry was not wasted. It was the birthplace of glory. You have often called the waiting cruel, the silence unfair, the delay unbearable. But when you look back, you will see that every delay was mercy in disguise. You thought I was withholding what you wanted, but I was safeguarding what you needed. There were things you longed for that you weren't ready to carry yet, and places you wanted to go that would have harmed you if you arrived too soon. I delayed not to disappoint you, but to develop you. I know how many times you cried out, asking me why it was taking so long, and I heard every word. I saw your frustration, your confusion, your weary heart counting days that turned into years. Yet through every tick of time, I was weaving a rhythm of purpose. Delay is not denial, it is divine orchestration. I have been working in the layers beneath what you could see, aligning hearts, shaping circumstances, maturing you for the blessing, and maturing the blessing for you. Had I moved when you demanded, you would have settled for what was temporary instead of what was eternal. My timing is not meant to torment but to dress for. Every time you said, "I'm ready," I whispered, "almost." Every time you felt forgotten, I was still in the details, arranging something greater than you imagined. Mercy looked like slowness when viewed from the waiting place, but when you stand in hindsight, you'll call it love. The delay kept you from lesser things. The waiting guarded you from walking into rooms not built for your destiny. You have not been stalled. You have been strengthened. And soon, you will see how perfectly I timed it all. You will see that I was never late. I was right on time, every time. The delay you dreaded was me rewriting the story in a way that only goodness could follow. One day soon, you'll thank me for not giving you what you wanted when you wanted it, because what you're about to receive will make the waiting worthwhile. You've looked back at your path and wondered why it had to twist so much, why it couldn't just be straight, clear, predictable. But every detour was guidance, and every silence was love speaking in disguise. You saw those sudden turns as mistakes, but I was steering you away from unseen dangers. You called them delays, but I called them divine directions. Every time the road shifted unexpectedly, I was protecting you from what could have stolen your peace or derailed your purpose. You don't see the full landscape yet, but one day you'll see that every twist was precision. I know you felt lost at times, trying to hear my voice through what felt like endless silence. But even my quiet seasons were filled with communication, because silence has always been my way of teaching you to listen differently. I spoke to your heart in ways words could not. I was speaking through restlessness that led you to move, through doors that wouldn't open, through peace that told you to stay. My silence was never absence. It was my hand resting gently on your shoulder, reminding you that presence doesn't always need a sound. Love with the language of those quiet days, not rejection. The detours you resented have led you exactly where you needed to be. You thought you were wandering, but you were being led. You thought you were delayed, but you were being prepared. Every change of course was the correction of a compass that always pointed toward your destiny. You will see that the road you didn't plan took you to promises you never could have found on your own. I have guided you with invisible threads of grace, through valleys and over mountains, through confusion and into clarity. You were never off course, you were always on my path. The silence that once scared you has become your sanctuary. The detours that once frustrated you have become your formation. And when you finally stand where I've been leading you, you'll realize that what you called detours were really my directions, and what you called silence was love speaking louder than words ever could. You have spent nights wondering if I had turned away from you, if perhaps you were forgotten somewhere between promise and fulfillment, but I tell you this now with all the love that exists in eternity. You were never forsaken. You were being prepared for the fullness of my promise. You mistook the silence for absence, but it was the sound of me working deeply within you, forming endurance, humility, and faith that could carry what I am about to give. The preparation was not punishment, it was protection. I had to refine your heart so that the weight of what I am releasing would not crush you. You see, it is easy to receive a promise. It is another thing entirely to carry it faithfully. So I took my time with you. I taught you to trust me when the road made no sense, to love me when the answers didn't come, to rest in me when striving would have stolen your strength. You saw waiting and delay, but waiting was me shaping your character to align with your calling. I was strengthening the foundations beneath your spirit, for I do not build anything meant to crumble. Every season of loneliness, every stretch of uncertainty, every tear that fell in secret was part of a sacred preparation. You thought you were being left behind, but you were being set apart. I was removing what could not go with you into the next season. Relationships, habits, fears, even dreams that were too small for the future I had in mind. You wanted arrival, but I wanted transformation. The promise was never lost. It was maturing. Just as fruit takes time to ripen, my word in your life has been ripening in its season. gathering strength and sweetness until the moment of its unveiling. You were not forgotten in the process. You were favored enough to be prepared for it. Every delay had been purpose in disguise, every detour divine orchestration. I was never far from you, not for a second. I stood beside you in the silence. I wept with you in the breaking. I smiled as I saw you rising again after every fall. You have not missed your promise. You are stepping into its fullness now, with hands that have learned surrender and a heart that has learned to hold glory without pride. The time you feared was wasted was actually the making of you. The tears you thought fell in vain were watering the roots of this very moment. Look around, beloved. The shadows are lifting, the horizon is glowing, and the promise you once only dared to dream is now unfolding before your eyes. You were never forsaken, you were always being formed for this. And now, the preparation gives way to fulfillment. The waiting gives way to wonder, and the story I've been writing through you enters its most radiant chapter yet. Amen.